On a chilly night in September 1936, the last known thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger, took its final breath in captivity at the Beaumaris Zoo in Hobart, Tasmania. This event marked the extinction of one of Australia's most iconic and enigmatic species. The story of the thylacine's decline and ultimate demise is a poignant reminder of the impacts of human activity on wildlife and the importance of conservation efforts.
The thylacine, Thylacinus cynocephaly, was a large carnivorous marsupial native to Tasmania, mainland Australia, and New Guinea. Resembling a large dog with distinctive stripes across its back and a stiff tail, the thylacine was often called the Tasmanian tiger. It played a crucial role in its ecosystem as an apex predator. European settlers arriving in Tasmania in the early 19th century viewed the thylacine as a threat to livestock, particularly sheep. As a result, they launched aggressive hunting campaigns against the animal. This, combined with habitat destruction and the introduction of diseases from domestic dogs, significantly reduced thylacine populations. By the early 20th century, the species was already considered rare.
Despite the decline in thylacine numbers, the Tasmanian government offered bounties for their capture, further incentivizing their eradication. From the 1830s to the early 1900s, thousands of thylacines were killed. Conservation efforts were virtually non-existent, as the thylacine was largely misunderstood and vilified by the public. In the early 1930s, awareness of the thylacine's plight began to grow, but it was too late. The species had been driven to the brink of extinction. The last known wild thylacine was captured in 1933 and sent to the Beaumaris Zoo in Hobart. This thylacine, later named Benjamin, became the last representative of its kind.
Benjamin lived out his final years in a small enclosure at the Beaumaris Zoo. His existence drew some attention from scientists and the public, but there was little concerted effort to save the species. The prevailing attitudes of the time were not conducive to effective conservation action. On the night of September 7, 1936, a series of unfortunate events led to Benjamin's death. The zoo staff failed to provide adequate shelter for the thylacine during an unusually cold night. Exposed to the elements, Benjamin succumbed to the harsh conditions. His death went largely unnoticed at the time, and it was only later recognized as the extinction of the species. The tragedy of the thylacine's extinction was compounded by the fact that significant scientific interest in the species had only just begun to emerge. Researchers lamented the loss of an incredible opportunity to study and understand a unique marsupial predator that had roamed Australia and Tasmania for thousands of years.
The death of the last known thylacine marked a profound loss for biodiversity and highlighted the dire consequences of human activities on wildlife. It spurred some of the earliest conversations about wildlife conservation in Australia. The extinction of the thylacine became a symbol of the need for better protection of endangered species and their habitats. In the decades following Benjamin's death, Tasmania and the broader scientific community reflected on the lessons learned from the thylacine's extinction. This led to the establishment of more rigorous conservation programs and protected areas aimed at preserving other threatened species. The thylacine story continues to captivate the public imagination. Sightings of the thylacine are occasionally reported, though none have been scientifically confirmed. The thylacine remains a potent symbol of lost wilderness and a stark reminder of the fragility of our natural world.
The story of the last known thylacine, Benjamin, is a somber tale of extinction and a cautionary lesson in the importance of conservation. The tragic end of the Tasmanian tiger underscores the urgent need to protect endangered species and preserve biodiversity. As we reflect on the Thylacine's demise, we are reminded of our responsibility to ensure that no other species shares its fate.